You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network. Today I found myself thinking about how much there is in the world to be and do, and how life has such critical stance as it pertains to our existence. And it made me think about the factor that, are we doing all that we can do individually to know and be what we're prone to or designed to be? Are we doing enough to push ourselves to discover the amazing things that we are here to become? Maybe you are here to do, to impact. Because if you came into the physical, there's purpose in your life. And if you're not taking full advantage of what that time looks like, then you may never fulfill your full life's purpose. And I know for me, I think that's one of those things when people say, what's the thing that maybe scares you or you're most concerned about when it comes to your life? And I think for me, it's not being everything that I was designed to be. Everyone may not have that same take, but for me, I have always nurtured myself to explore as much of my dimension as possible. And in doing that, you can discover things that you may naturally like to do, that you're drawn to do. Some things you may discover that you come to like and want to know more about it. It may become a hobby, and then it can maybe develop into a passion. And next thing you know, it can evolve into a purpose. And so in order to get to that level, that means that you have to take some time discovering who you are. And the more you discover who you are, the more you actually take dedicated time to explore who you are as an individual, to explore what you could do that could impact the world in such a positive manner. Not just self-serving, but what can you do beyond the scope of your existence, just getting up and breathing every day, or going to work, or cooking, or cleaning, or driving, or laboring in some kind of form or fashion. Whatever you're doing that's taking up your time, how much of that time are you also spending to discover yourself? Like, what are you really, really, really doing to drive yourself forward? Because that's what life is about. It's about continually to keep striving for more. Because trust me, the moment when your breath has ceased and you're no longer in the physical, then it's done. So while you're here, are you taking time for the discovery of self? Guys, y'all know what time it is. It's Monday, and it's time for Sonny's Monday Motivation. Let's go. Welcome to Loudmouth Radio Network. My name is Sonny. As a former professional athlete turned entrepreneur realtor and the producer of Loudmouth Radio Network, I look forward to bringing content to you that empowers, inspires, and entertains you. Tune in each week as we have unscripted and unfiltered talks from entrepreneurship, real estate, politics, entertainment, comedy, LGBTQ topics, day-to-day life, and everything in between. All shows available on demand 24/7 on your favorite podcast platforms. San Jacinto, Temecula Valley areas, and throughout the Inland Empire. Are you looking to become a homeowner in 2024? Register today for the New Home in the New Year seminar hosted by Sold by Sonny. Let's get you from rental to homeowner in the new year. Get the latest insight of down payment assistance programs, whether you purchased a home before or purchasing for the first time. We want to make sure you're provided with the necessary information needed for you to buy your new home in 2024. Look forward to seeing you there.
Hi, I'm Hector Calvillo of J&H Automotive, located at 611 West Florida Avenue in Hemet, California. We are a full-service automotive repair shop where you can always expect to receive the highest quality repairs, fairest pricing, best customer service in the industry. My brother George and I grew up watching our dad work on classic cars as a backyard mechanic. His hard work ethic and dedication led us to opening up J&H Automotive in 2009. We started out with a 500 square foot repair shop, and we have consistently grown over the past 15 years to our new 10,000 square foot repair facility in the heart of Hemet. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Call 951-766-5999 to set an appointment for all your automotive service needs.
Hello, my name is Takasha Smith. I'm the owner of Takasha's Kitchen, based out of Menifee in the Southern California area. As a chef and caterer, I provide private cooking classes, couples dinners, and private parties. As a female pitmaster, I am able to create a personalized experience for your family reunion gatherings. I create menus based on my clients' needs to have a more personal vibe. You can find Takasha's Kitchen on all social media networks such as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and my YouTube channel at Takasha's Kitchen. And that's spelled TACASHAS Kitchen, KITCHEN.
You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network. From the time we're born, we come with this innate ability to discover. We look to understand what's going on around us. We try to connect to things. We'll mimic things. We start to explore things. And as children, we have this innocence and this ability to imagine and to discover every day something, whether it's our hands, our feet, our own breathing, the sense of smell, the sense of taste, the ability of sight. All of those things are evolving as we come into the world, right? From birth. And as we age, we start to discover more and more things. And then there's part of things that are impression upon us from our parents, our siblings, our neighbors, the things that are surrounding us. But the driver of all of this is ourselves, right? It's the inward thing that makes us desire to know what's that. What can this be? What can this do? And there's this connection to us in that thing, whether it's a individual or item or even a thought, right? So along the way, I think as we start to endure life and we experience life and things are being oppressed upon us that are opinions, of others, sometimes we drift away from that natural realm of discovery. And then we become adapted in our lives to doing the things that become our routines, right? So it's easy to consume our day with the things that we normally know to do. But how much time are we taking to be still or to go within ourselves so deeply that we are driving ourselves to make more discoveries about ourselves? Like, what is it that, you'll hear people say, okay, I'm working to discover my purpose, or I'm working within my purpose, or I'm doing the things to see what is next in my life. And we're at a space where society is going through an evolving change, not in just our physical elements, but technology. The onset of AI now has made people now question what is real and what is computerized, right? What has been generated. So I think it's even important as humans, as beings, human beings, that we that we cannot lose the factor or the thirst of taking the time to understand who we are and to work towards maximizing our dimensions as people. And in order for that to continue to happen, we have to do it on purpose. We have to take the time to say, you know what? There's this thing about me that maybe I feel drawn to, or you may enter a conversation with somebody and they tell you about something you never heard of, right? And you find yourself trying to find out more. That's pretty much how we learn things. We find out about them in some form or fashion, whether it's visual, we hear it in an auditory form. We may touch it and it makes us feel some kind of way, or we might walk into the energy of something and we're like, man, have you ever walked into something and smelled something? Like I love colognes, I love oils. I'm a incense person, so I love burning incense. I love candles. So, we have these five senses, and God made us unique to be able to have the ability to connect to things by these different types of senses. Now, if you're one of those people that are born without hearing or without sight or without taste, or, there's this difference. So usually the other parts of your senses are heightened. So if you're blessed to be a person that has all of your senses, so you're not dealing with any type of disability of any function that takes away those abilities, what are you doing with that? Are we taking advantage of the fact that we're breathing every day? This past week, a artist that is, known in the hip hop and R&B era of, the last 20, 30 years, Fat Man Scoop, right? He is a collaborator. He's an MC. He's an artist. There's a lot of variation, rapper, however you want to describe him. But he was participating in a concert, and he's been known to, kind of be that term they use, hype man, right? And he gets the crowd involved, and his tagline, which I'm gonna pull up for you guys, that most people will identify if you're familiar at all with hip hop and things of that nature. You have heard of, of his content, his songs, his quotes, his taglines in the music culture, right? So he's been known as a rapper and that radio presenter. He's also been on television, right? So needless to say, he was doing a concert, and during the concert, we don't know all of the aspects of what may have happened, to him that caused him to literally pass in the midst of performing. And this happened in front of thousands of people, right? And we're talking about a man who was doing what he's done. He's worked within his purpose for a number of years. He's been known to collaborate with different artists like Missy Elliott and, oh Jesus, I can't even think right now. Sierra, just different people, different artists that he's, collaborated with, and you've heard his voice. And so for him to be in the midst of doing what he normally has done for many, many, many years, and what he's been known for, it's like he reached the pinnacle of his purpose, and he was doing it in the midst of something that he has done for a long time, that he's loved and he has been passionate about. And, he literally took his last breath at 53 years old. He's only got me by some, within just a few years ahead of me in my senior. All right. And to think that, he was doing what he normally would do, get up on the mic, walking around in the crowd, doing his thing. And he made his way up to the stage, and he collapsed. And he literally took his last breath in the front of this whole entire coliseum of people, right? So it just goes to tell you and show you that now more than ever, we've endured something in history that has never really taken hold of the world like the pandemic did, right? So the morality, the very thought of your mortality is probably ever more present than it's ever been before, if you're at all within the age of understanding what that means, right? From teens all the way up to baby boomers and elders, right? At one point in our lives, when I was a younger person, it was not uncommon to hear people passing in their 70s, 80s, and if they were blessed, they hit their 90s, right? And it's very rare you hit 100s. But it was so much more of a longer life duration of time period. Well, now we're here in 2024, and you're hearing people dying in their 30s, they're dying in their 40s, and you're talking about not even really having what we consider significant health issues, but yet they're leaving this earth and leaving this plane. So I think that the element of taking the time to understand who we are as an individual, and the better that you are in discovering yourself and the discovery of self, the more you can come back and put into society and change and be a dynamic of cultural, essence, and that you're contributing to the world, you're contributing to mankind, and you're giving your life purpose. So sometimes I think people get caught up on a certain way in which they're living their life's purpose. And a lot of times they may wrap it around something that is, a thing like maybe basketball, or if it's not sports, maybe it's entertainment, it's, acting or writing or something like that. Right. And, a lot of times people who do hit those pinnacles in one area, they still do other things. They may be known to be a writer. Like, let's use Stephen King, for example. Stephen King is probably one of the most prolifically known worldwide horror, suspense writers, right? And Stephen King has published tons of books. But Stephen King also has had the ability of taking those stories and adapting them to film. So now Stephen King goes from a writer to now a filmmaker, right? And then he may not only just be the film, he may also direct it, because he's the one that wrote it and sees the vision. So now he takes another title and another position as the director, right? And, there's all of these dimensions of this one individual. And how much has Stephen King given to society? A lot of the movies and things that we watch now or have seen in years passing have come from Stephen King's writing, from his brain, from his imagination, his discovery of himself. And because of him being able to go so deeply within and connect to himself, he was able to lock in on a higher power of ability. Right. And so his purpose is not one dimensional. It becomes two dimensional in the ability to go from his thoughts to subjective, storylines. Then he went and put the pen to paper, or a typewriter, or a book. So then it became three-dimensional, and then it expanded and expounded. I'm pretty sure Stephen King probably owns real estate. He may even have other portfolios of business interests. He may have some philanthropic interests, right? Bill Gates, known in the world, Microsoft, computer guy, but he also has a foundation that is really driven toward the world. So, there's these multi dimensions that exist or can exist within us. But if we're not taking the time to lock in on our best selves, how do you think they will ever come to pass? Les Brown talks very vividly about this in a lot of his speeches, about how many people in the ground had dreams and had these thoughts of what they would do and impact the world, but they didn't carry them out. They did not take the time to impactfully make them matter. Those dreams, those ambitions, those things that may have once existed in that person, if they did not allow them to flush out into the atmosphere and to make contact into the world, is just something that just never became worth anything. And we all are born with a number on the front end, and we all die with a number on the back end. But what's going on in the middle? What are we doing in between that hyphen of dates is where your purpose of your life exists. So if you're not taking the time to discover what more you could be and do, you are just taking away so much opportunity of being something impactful in this world. Number one, you're going to disappoint yourself. Number two, you're going to disappoint. You're not going to even appoint your talents to the world, because you didn't even give yourself the first option and the first responsibility to explore who you are. And do not let fear of not being optimal in those discoveries stop you. I think that should drive you, because maybe there's something in between there that opens up another dimension. I remember when I first went to my alma mater, my undergrad, Savannah College of Art and Design in Savannah, Georgia, in the early 90s. And the city of Savannah was very different than what it is now. And I can remember, going to this school, and to me, this was like magic. It reminded me of what I used to watch as a kid, which was Fame. I used to watch Fame, and I would, admire. Now, I was not a dancer to the degree of what they were in the performing arts side of that, but I definitely was on the spectrum of acting and performance and entertaining. So I thought it was cool that they could go to this school and that's what they did. They completely was submerged in art, in culture of whatever it was that they were working to master. And so when SCAD came into my forefront and became an opportunity and a possibility, I remember coming onto not just coming onto the campus, because what's so unique about SCAD, which is what Savannah College of Art and Design is called and known for as an abbreviation. SCAD has done something incredible. They took a city and they started with one building. Shouts out to Richard and Paula, excuse me, former president and now current president of SCAD. They had this vision, and they were, there was an education background and a desire of art and a mesh of being able to enrich minds. So they took one building and it became the Savannah College of Art and Design, and classes were held in that one building in this city that was just a southern city like any other southern city that was designed uniquely with squares within the city. The way it was laid out is very interesting. If you've never been to Savannah, you should go. So you have this southern city that has this historic cultural building in the middle of the city that these visionaries said, you know what, we want to create an infrastructure here. That one building became two. Then the two buildings became three. And then the third building became four. And for many college campuses, normally college campuses are an enclosure and they're on this one gazillions of acres of land, and you have all your buildings and administrators and facilities and everything on this one campus. Well, SCAD did something unique, and they created their campus within the city. And what was so amazing about the city of Savannah is that there were so many buildings that were, beautifully designed, a lot of them unoccupied, dilapidated, unused, or they were repurposed. And we're talking about old elementary schools, factory buildings, just an amazing footprint for a visionary to be able to take and convert to one of the largest, most prominent, prestigious colleges in the world. And what took place in those just a small frame time period of my life, I was able to bear witness to something amazing unfold. And as SCAD developed more and more, the time period from the time that I enrolled in the school, and I remember going to touring the buildings, and there was an architecture program, video production, interior design, jewelry making, overall art history, historic preservation. I mean, we're talking about some deep artistic, concentrated degrees, right? And for me, ultimately, my very first thought was like, oh, I can go to this school and go for performing arts for acting. At the time of my visit, SCAD did not have a performing arts degree, but they did have a video and film production degree. Also, the offset of that, as a kid, I was always performing. I loved watching comedy shows. So I would always be performing for my cousins. I was a one-man show every day. Okay. And honing my stand-up, honing my non-fear of talking in front of a crowd of people, even if it was two, right? Even if it was the cat. I also discovered as a kid, being intuitive, being nosy, my building that I grew up in, there we had this, this 3-story building, and at the bottom of the building in Chicago was our basement, and in our basement was our storage spaces. So the way our building was set up, our laundry facilities and storage was in the basement of our building. So there was literally 4 levels of people that had storage, dedicated storage space, and then our wash and dryer was down there. So only a few people in the building had their own washers and dryers. We had our own wash and dryer. So I had the duty of loading clothes and washing clothes, I think as early as 9 years old. And, we were the key lock kids, so latch kids. So we would go down there, unlock the basement, And my mother taught me how to do laundry. So I had to separate the clothes, take the laundry down to the basket, and go down to the basement, right? And for many, many kids, and let me tell y'all something. It was many, many times that basement was so scary. It was dark, very minimal light. And there was only 2 entrances in. And one entrance was very, very hard to get in through. But the main entrance that I would come through was me coming down our back steps and opening up a gate and then unlocking the door and then entering the basement. And so as a kid, you going into a dark space like that, it could be intimidating. And so in order for me to overcome the fear, I needed to know what was in the basement beyond the washer and dryer and these storages that were basically like wood 2x4 structured, built inside of the basement. There was a concrete floor. It had the low bearing cement poles. So it was all open. But then where the storages were for each individual residence's building, because this is a co-op. So, we owned our units, right? So the way the storages were set, they were locked in individually, but they really wasn't all of that secure. Let's just be honest. It was a trust factor down there. So here I am, this 9, 10, 11-year-old kid, just nosy. And a lot of times I would stay down and, from a little kid, I've been a reader. So I always had a book. I would go to the bathroom and sit on the toilet for hours and read. That was my little space. When I went to wash clothes, I would take word and search puzzles or books. And then sometimes if I didn't go down there with anything, then I would go exploring. So one of our neighbors, she had, evidently, I don't know if, what she was into. I think her mother was a teacher. It's been so long. I can't remember what Mrs. Greer's career was, but her daughter and her had their stuff in there, and I was breaking and entering. Okay. So I went into their storage space. Cause I think what made me look back in the day, Sears and Roebuck, right? I think Sears may be still around. They may be connected, but Sears, Roebuck, JCPenney's, Montgomery Ward's, these are the Marshall Fields. These are department stores that we had in the city of Chicago, right? So Sears and Roebuck, I guess back in the early days of Sears and Roebuck, they actually had house plans. They had, so if just to kind of give you an idea what they look like, if you've ever seen like a sewing pattern pack, back in the day, they had these sewing pattern packs. You would open them up and they would have all these different patterns and they were in a pack and they would be sealed and they were like a paper pack. Where Sears and Roebuck had these house plans, and they were architectural design plans of homes that people could purchase. And at that time, I want to say these houses were like $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. And so if I was to do the math, this is in the 80s. So pretty much those plans may have been from something from the 50s, 60s, 70s, the early plans that people were buying homes and having them designed. So I don't know for sure if Sears was actually building them or they were just selling the plans, but they had these intricate floor plans. And so one day I found one that was hanging outside of the bottom of her storage. So I literally was able to just slip it and pull it up and pick it up and I opened it up. And here I am looking at these floor plans, and I'm looking at, so you would see the picture of the sketch of the house, of the exterior of the home. And then when you went through the sheets, each individual sheet was different parts of the house. And then there was one that had the overall plan of the home. So I'm literally taking these plans, and I would take a little sketchbook, a notebook or something. I would come down and then I would redesign the houses and write them out, and kind of like I'm literally taking my little pencil and trying to measure the rooms and then redrawing them and things. So I had this unique knack of being able to just see the homes and the structure, and then I could see the things and the elements that would go within it. So 8, 9, 10 years old, I just kind of fell into this hobby of the house plans and the designs. And, I did not know what architecture was at that point. I just knew that I was making houses, right? And so fast forward, I started playing basketball at 5, 6 years old, right? And that was influenced by my kindergarten teacher sending me in the gym because I did not like to take naps and I would disrupt the whole class and be a class clown. So she sent me in the gymnasium, and Mr. Dandelis in Revis Elementary School in the city of Chicago gave me the little red kickball because I couldn't really push the basketball up. It was too heavy. And he started let me shoot the basketball in the gym. in kindergarten. So at 5 years old, I was introduced to basketball. Absolutely just loved it and continue to do it forever and ever, right? So then I got sports, I got the love of performing, and then I have this unique thing about architecture that I'm just submerging myself in on my own time, right? So fast forward, we get 10 years ahead. I get to SCAD, Savannah College of Art Design. I'm technically a sophomore in college, but because of me leaving the junior college in Palm Beach, Florida, and transferring to SCAD, I'm now academically a freshman, because now my physical education degree that I had started pursuing my first year of college did not transfer to the new curriculum. So I'm starting fresh. I think my English and math was the only thing that transferred from Palm Beach to SCAD, because two totally different curriculums. Now I come to the campus and I'm exploring the campus, and I find out they don't have an acting program. And I was like, oh man. But I also saw in the catalog that there was an architecture program. So I went and toured the architecture building, which was a massive factory building that SCAD had that was just enormous. And the tour guide is taking me through, and I'm very curious about the architecture program. And y'all, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. During the tour, one of the people said that, like one of the kids asked about the time period of graduation and with the average students, and the person was honest and said, well, it can be a 4-year program for some, but it may take some 5 years or even 7 years to finish their degree. It just really depends on how you excel through the program and what other things, if you minor in something else, just natural questions. So guys, can I tell you, I think I let that really intimidate me, because in my mind, I had already knew that I was going to finish in 4 years. I wanted to graduate. I wanted to play basketball professionally. I was going to play for the Chicago Bulls. I was going to be the first female in the NBA playing basketball, because women's basketball was not present in the U.S. like that, right? So I had this whole plan mapped out. I was going to be a comedian actor. I was going to make movies, and I was going to design houses, right? And so here I was at this fork in the road of, walking through the buildings, and it was super impressive. SCAD had all of the top computers, cameras. On the architecture side, you had these massive desks, drafting desks, and you see all these people that are designing homes and buildings and, three-dimensional models and all kinds of stuff. So here I was at this crossroad, and I really and truly said, I don't intend on taking that long to finish my degree. So I totally turned my head to the left and decided to enroll in video and film production. And I figured, well, if I'm not going to get a degree in the acting portion, I could at least learn how to work behind the camera, learn the crew, learn all of the things on this backside. And some way or another, I can do enough to learn so that I can make my own movies and be in the front of the camera too. Right? So guys, let's talk about the factor that I enroll in SCAD. I play basketball for the college, and I will never forget the opportunity came. I remember my friends that graduated the year before me, Sidney Portier, delivered the class commencement ceremonies. And my friends Neff and many of those that were in that graduating class had the opportunity and the prestige to have him speak for graduation. And I was present, and I was like, that's amazing, right? And I remember leaving their ceremony and saying, well, when I graduate, which was the following year, I want Maya Angelou to do our ceremony. And what came to pass, guys, which is amazing, like this little black girl from the south side of Chicago who overcame playing basketball in all times of days weather, while gangs are shooting, gangs are fighting, got jumped on by a whole basketball team, got jumped by a girls' gang to not want to be a part of the gang, who had bullied in elementary school, somebody tried to bully me in high school and got the beat down, who academically struggled because I was not going to classes, and I wasn't coping well with some challenges that I was having outside of school. And so my academics slipped. Not that I did not have the ability, but I wasn't going to, I would go to gym. I would go to English. I would go to certain classes, and the rest of the day I would skip skip classes and go play basketball, right? So I didn't even play basketball for my high school until my junior year, because the first 2 years I didn't even have focus there, the eligibility situation. I went to day school. I had to go to night school my junior year. I had to go to summer school just so that I could graduate on time as a senior, right? I academically get a scholarship to go to Palm Beach. I go to Palm Beach. I go for a year. I end up playing on the basketball team. We lost at the state championship my first year just by a matter of a few points. And we were one of the best college teams in the state of Florida. And I transferred to this academic, prestigious college that I never knew of, that I could only imagine as a little girl watching Fame, that I would attend a school like this. And then it comes back full circle as a college student. I get this wonderful, and guys, I'm telling you guys this because the discovery of self will open up doors of opportunity. Because if you give yourself the opportunity, you never know how the universe will uniquely cross your path. And here I am, adored by the president of the college. And, I'm part of the basketball team, which we did our thing on and off over the years, went through a couple of coaches in that capacity, had full disclosure that I wanted to play professionally and had their full support in that way. But in the course of my senior year, myself and Rod Elkels, rest in peace, one of my classmates who also became a coach for the men's basketball team at SCAD, who succumbed to cancer some years ago. We were selected and chosen as a female and male athletes, both African-American, both from modest upbringings. Rod was from Georgia. I was from Chicago. And we were interviewed in the square and chosen to be a part of the 20th year of SCAD's founding. And so we became a part of the Founders Day video of the history of SCAD in that 20th year. I remember the school newspaper stopping me on the street and saying, who would you like to speak at your graduation? And I said, Maya Angelou. And guys, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. So in May of that year, Maya Angelou gave our commencement ceremony. Someone who it was a life-changing piece in my life, who made an intricate connection. I ain't gonna give y'all my whole memoir on this radio show today. I never intended on this going as deep as I am today, but I just felt compelled to share with you how amazing that if I can have these incidences of experience, if I can have these intersections of opportunity and knowledge of how uniquely divine things can happen, because you give yourself the opportunity first, right? You just have to give yourself the opportunity, guys. And so I remember I sent Maya Angelou flowers that day of the commencement ceremony, and so much was going on. I didn't physically get to meet her, which was a huge disappointment. I wanted to, but of course my family, everything's happened. It's graduation day, so it's kind of hard to tie in everything at that time. But what was so impactful is I remember sitting there like, wow, here it is, somebody I desired that stands before us and gives our commencement speech. To be selected to be part of something so historic of a college that's so prestigious, that's so much bigger than me, that has an endowment bigger than most people will ever see in their natural lives economically. I just say that there's something amazing about the discovery of self. And I am still purposely looking for more parts of me to appear, to be inspired, to be enthused, to uproot itself, right? And that's because I'm reading, I'm writing, I'm intentionally seeking out people that are in different walks of my life and people who may be in the areas that I am present. I'm a licensed realtor, right? with a desire to be a future developer, right? I have my own radio network. I've had my own marketing and entertainment brand for over 15 years, and I'm working in that purpose. But there are so many other people that is in these fields as an independent filmmaker. There are other filmmakers and producers and actors and comedians and writers and who are so far beyond me. And to be in their space, to be in conversation, or to watch and learn, or to submerge into the culture of understanding of things. Financial, I might not be a financial wealth advisor, but there's people around me who are. There's all these opportunities. And how do you not allow yourself the right, as long as you have breath, you have purpose. And I am challenging you to do everything that you can to take the time to allow yourself to evolve right before your eyes. And in your own course of doing that, you are giving the mankind that you are a part of, the human race, an opportunity to be enriched, to be gifted, because we're all a part of the blessing. We're all part of the existence. And we're all the energy that is going to take place at this time and in future lives. So, guys, it's just that important that we're doing the most that we can in this lifetime to be the best of ourselves. And that concludes my show for today. Now go be great. Later. You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network. What up, everybody? This is Sonny, your loudmouth of comedy. I got something to share with you guys. You listening? Check it out. Sonny's Loudmouth Comedy Presents is coming to Shooters Bar and Grill of Temecula. We're doing comedy and karaoke every third Wednesday live comedy event, right? We're doing open mic, featured comics, and we're topping it off with karaoke. Now, this is the best part. I need you to get your tickets. We're doing advance tickets and table reservations. We're not doing anything at the door, which means you need to get your tickets. And you need to go to where? Loudmouthcomedy.com. That's LOUDDMOUTH, loudmouthcomedy.com, all together. Get your tickets. Tell the homies. You can get you some reservations for tables, seating. Also, listen, if you are a comic, or maybe you do spoken word, or you might sing or something like that, you want to take part in the open mic, I need you to go to loudmouthcomedy.com and get your opportunity to get registered and signed up for the open mic. It's limited spaces. Don't let me tell you I didn't tell you ahead of advance. Now you gotta do this in advance, right? And you need to be registered well in advance, okay? So you need to go to loudmouthcomedy.com. Uncontrollable laughter, great food, drinks, and a comfortable atmosphere. I can't wait to see you.